Hello, YouTube land. Gemini Solutions 8. Today is Monday, 9:30 a.m. September 6th. I don't know why I read the date and time like you don't know that it's today. It's a weird habit, and I don't know what else to say, so that's how I start these while I wait for people to come in. It's Labor Day, which means the rest of the country has off, and John is laboring for you. Yeah, I'm a workaholic, so it is what it is. So you benefit from it, though. Everyone out there in YouTube land. It's going to be our pretty much Google Weekly News, questions and answers, watch me ramble, all the good stuff. I look over here because this is where I am. And so the comments are over there. The camera's over there. I got to redo this whole setup. So I'm actually looking at everyone that's watching this. Not sure how many people are going to be joining because I know that a lot of people are either parts of agencies or agency owners. Probably off spending time with their family like I should be doing, but duty calls. So let's see. I'll give this a few minutes. I don't see anybody here just yet, but we'll see if anybody joins. Oh, I'm our first join. Awesome. Oh yeah, so people are coming in now. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a good Labor Day. Let's see. Do I have any updates from Google? So actually, one that's kind of interesting. We're testing with a client a Performance Max for retail. It's actually really interesting because it's kind of like smart shopping, potentially smart shopping 2.0. So what I didn't like about Performance Max for lead generation was low quality leads because you couldn't really control the narrative too much. But Performance Max for retail, there is no lead quality. It's did they buy or did they not buy? Now we turn this on the end of a year-long smart shopping campaign. So there's going to be a lot of leftovers and time lag and overlaps that aren't necessarily driven from Performance Max. So might be a little bit of a longer term test, but I'll keep you all posted because so far it's showing some pretty good results, but not to say that those are results coming from only Performance Max for retail. Davey Green, hi boy, hi Davey. Cecilia, hey John, how are you? Good, Cecilia, how are you? Cecilia, the how was the ad preview and diagnosis? If I remember correctly, I think that's yours. You have the yoga classes for online. How was the ad preview and diagnosis? Did that help you? I know that there was some positive and negative keywords and match type issues that we're running into for you that I just curious to see if that's been resolved for you, or if that guidance that I gave you, I think last week or the week before, has been helpful. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. This might be a little bit shorter, a little bit lighter today. I know a lot of people are not really working at the office or that kind of stuff. So, but it was very helpful. Good. I'm glad to say. I'm glad that helped. That ad preview and diagnosis tool is invaluable. I don't know why a lot of people don't really use it more often. We've been able to, yeah, you're very welcome. We've been able to identify a lot of issues from clients that come and hire us because they have issues with I can't get this to show, or I'm not sure where to look, or why is this working, why that isn't working. And that ad preview and diagnosis tool has been invaluable, especially with the evaluations. We look through it and we're like, hey, did you know that you're not showing for X, Y, Z, and here's all the reasons why, and it's a great tool. So use that frequently. It's a great tool. Opinion on turning on micro conversions. Add to cart, boost macro conversion purchases to help the algo. So it's interesting. I am slightly against those. The reason being is that any automated bidding strategy, especially when you have conversion actions, since conversion actions are tied to the account, I've shot myself in the foot a couple times with micro conversions. Only because a lot of the strategies that we build are very direct response bottom of the funnel. And since you have a cart abandonment rate of about 63% on average, what you could potentially do, and this isn't a blanket statement, it's not my first It's not my first SOP that I would try. My standard operating procedure is usually to go to where can I get leads or purchases. Then if that doesn't work, usually I find that there's about 10 other things that I want to do before attempting macro or micro conversions to be counted as a conversion so that it sends signals back to Google. And I have actually a couple reasons. Add to carts, searches, product page views, begin checkouts, all of those are good indicators that you're going to start to see conversions. And what you'll find is when you look at like all conversions, if you're not including them in conversions, you're going to see that as you start a campaign, those are going to start to come in. You're going to start to see those micro conversions. Google does see those as well. It just doesn't bid differently for them. So what I usually do is I watch the micro conversions not included in conversions to see I am hitting the right audience. There is activity here, but I'm teaching the algorithm that I don't necessarily want to focus on those people and start to build those people as an audience. Reason being is because Google is going to, it's like think about an attack dog, and whatever target you get, it's going to go after that, and it's hard to wrangle that back and then send it in a different direction. So when you see that they go after micro conversions, a lot of times what will end up happening is that you start to get those micro conversions. Google's bidding more aggressively, starting to cultivate an audience. However, it has a 68% or 63% fail rate, and the success rate is not large enough to continue to grow that. So what happens is when I see that the micro conversions are starting to come in, if you were to say, good, get me more of those, and this is going good and this is going well, and then all of a sudden you say, okay, now change pivots, it actually, it dies. Because it says, well, I was going good, I was getting conversions and things are starting to happen, and now I need to go after just the purchase, and you don't want me to go after those anymore, I'm going to pull back an atrophy, especially if you overlay a target return aspect goal. It says, well, hey, this huge audience I used to go after, it threw it out the window. So it kind of throws the baby out with the bathwater type of thing, which is a really old saying. You probably think of from the 1800s now. But it's funny is because if that happens, then you kind of have to restart. So, and that's dependent upon what campaign. I have not seen micro conversions work well for smart shopping. I have seen micro conversions work well for search. There's different ways. And if you think about it, how many users am I attracting? Smart shopping is huge and goes against everywhere. So it's like thousands and thousands of impressions on every single channel. And that's hard to steer the other direction. Now, if it's search inbound and you're going off of keywords, now you're getting some use cases say, hey, these keywords are good. These are people that are engaged. That's fine. But if you're taking a big, massive campaign like smart shopping, which is inbound dynamic prospecting, remarketing on all 6 networks, thousands of impressions, that you say, okay, like now we're going to change target. Sometimes it doesn't work. So just be cautious with those. And I would use it as a last resort. First thing I would look at is, obviously, can you get the bottom of the funnel conversions? Is your feed optimized? Is the landing page good? Is the ecom priority firing? Is I might have said this already. Is landing page speed good? There's a lot of different. Is your feed title and your descriptions? Is your feed quality good? There's a lot of different areas that I would check first if those bottom of the funnel conversions didn't start coming in immediately. Before I said, well, is everything else totally fine? And maybe I'll just have to test micro conversions. Hopefully that works. Next one. I realized I had to raise the bids of certain keywords a little bit to get better lead quality. It's true. It's true. Position matters, Cecilia. It's so true. The quality showed up as medium and above average. It's very true. If you're the 3rd and 4th to be considered, the people that are in the 1 and 2, and then sometimes also 3, because if you toggle between 3rd and 4th position, all of those people get to scoop up the good ones, and you get the leftovers if your position's too low. That's why Google pays. So you have to pay so much to be number 1, number 2, because that's where people who are looking for someone usually looks first. So might not always be worth being number 1. Being number 2, you can sometimes earn 3 times as many clicks as number 1 and still be considered 1 or 2. You can still be considered 1st and 2nd, which is good enough. Do I have to pay to be number 1, or can I pay 1/3 to be number 2, but I get 3 times the traffic and my conversion rate dropped a little bit, but still get good amount of volume. So position absolutely matters. Interdeep, hey, hi John, do you think we should have different landing pages for different countries to improve quality score? If yes, what changes should we make to the landing page content and ad copies? It depends on language. What I have found to be the best way to do this, whether you're on Shopify or WordPress, doesn't really matter. If you can have an app, and I've seen this work, I've done this with a client, if you can have a country selector that actually changes the currency codes or currency, so it's like from dollars to pounds. I haven't found that different landing pages necessarily for countries have been beneficial. I found that the currency is something that actually matters a lot. So what we did, and we don't really have like an English speaking and a Spanish speaking and a French speaking, whatever it is. We don't really have any clients like that, but we do have clients that go through multiple English speaking countries. We all send them to the same place, but what we did is we had a selector on the site that according to the UTM, so UTM underscore country equals like US, AU, UK. That actually, when it was sent over, the country selector just dynamically rolled the website to the proper country. And that actually helped quite a bit in terms of conversion rate, because UK didn't think they're buying from US didn't think they're buying from UK. It was actually in their native currency, which is, you know, something good that's for e-commerce. For lead generation, not really. I don't really see a big difference there. I did see a big difference though inside of the currency, and there is apps you can download that will, or not download, but the apps you can install that will roll the currency based on UTM parameter that you send over, and then you just create separate campaigns with separate UTM parameters, and then each person that clicks on that ad is going to the right location. That when I've sell lead generation, I haven't seen a big difference. Hey John, we talked about this before, but I believe you couldn't finish your thought in time because the stream was ending. I have an issue with conversion reporting between ads and analytics. You were talking about that I should look at conversions by conversion time, if you remember. Could you explain further? So I don't exactly remember that, and I apologize. I work like 12 hours a day with like 200 emails a day, so I don't remember the nuances each one. But I'll just give you my thoughts on this. So conversion reporting between ads and analytics. Think of this. Analytics is a same-day, one-click attributed network. That's why you'll see direct traffic come in that convert. You know that's not the case. You know they had to have come from somewhere. People usually don't just wake up one day and say, I wonder if this website exists, and I'm just going to go and type the URL perfectly and have an 8% conversion rate. What ends up happening is analytics says, someone came to the website directly and they bought. Okay, don't give any credit to Google Ads. That didn't come from them. That came from our direct channel. The Google Ads tag says, did someone click on an ad? And regardless of how they come back and convert, we'll give the credit to Google Ads, even if analytics says it came directly. So Google Ads tag actually tags a person, then watches that person for, hopefully you're set that to a 90-day click-through. And regardless if they come back directly, organically, email, social, doesn't matter. It will give credit to Google Ads because it says, hey, Google Ads had a click. Then they came back directly, give it to Google Ads. Google Ads had a click, and then they were remarketed to on Facebook, give it to Google Ads. And Facebook's going to give it to Facebook. So you have to understand how each attribution model works from the source. Analytics says, whatever they did today in this one click is going to get credit for it. Google Ads says, if they ever click on a Google Ads for the next 90 days, we're going to give it to Google Ads, regardless of how they convert. That's why you'll see a big issue between Google Analytics saying, hey, I have $10,000 in revenue, and Google Ads might say I have $13,000 because $3,000 came back and actually converted organically and directly and through email. Those are the differences. That's why we usually like to use Google Ads tag, just because I don't really mind if they come back regardless of source. I just need to give credit to the campaign that actually brought the sale or the lead in the first place. That's the difference between Google Ads tag and the Google Analytics tag. That's why when people usually import Google Analytics as a conversion source, you're going to miss about 20 to 40, sometimes even 50% of those conversions, just depending upon the top conversion path. Do most people come back directly and organically when they're ready to buy? Or to Google in a brand name if you're not running a brand campaign? Are you having 1 click to sale, or are you having 27 days to conversion? And that's where the days to conversion. If you have a 27-day conversion lag, those people are, and if you're not running a brand campaign, those people are not just going to Google the exploratory keyword they first did 27 days later when they're ready to buy. They're going to type in your brand name or come to your website organically or directly or some other way. They're not just going to go back through your cold traffic audience. So, but Google Analytics is going to say, well, that person came back directly. So don't give the credit to Google Ads. 27 days later, that's not going to match up. So the Google Ads tag watching in 90 days, regardless of what Analytics says, Google Ads says, nope, they clicked on my ad and then 41 days later they converted, give the credit to Google. Hopefully that helps. It is very strange. The diagnosis says your ad is not showing, but the keywords match and I'm getting impressions and clicks just fine. So Google Ads works on an hourly basis. There used to be standard and accelerated settings inside of Google that says if you're going to set the ad like basically aggression level to standard, it just means that every hour you get a new budget. I'll give you a real simple example. The way that Google Ads works now is if you have a $24 per day budget and you're running for 24 hours, you get $1 per hour. Now you can spend $3 in hour 1, but then the ad doesn't show till hour 4 because it sucked up the next 3 hours of ad spend. This is why small budgets are hard in Google Ads, is because it says, hey, that person was ready to come back, but I ran out of budget and I'm not going to be able to show my ad for 27 more minutes. And they searched and I lost them. So you might see that your ad is not showing if you have a low budget and you might have spent the budget for the hour already and it's not going to turn back on until the turn of the next hour. So that's how Google Ads now works. It can overspend for that hour. It doesn't mean that you only get $1 an hour. You might get a $10 click. And if you have a 24-hour window, that ad's going to shut off for 9 hours. And then the next 10 hour, and it's going to say, hey, I used up the budget per hour. So just be mindful that that's how Google Ads works when it's been running a long time. In the beginning, the first week, sometimes you can blow your whole daily budget 1 hour and then be like, oh, and then Google's like, oh, I need to limit that spend that hour and start to evenly distribute it. So again, just understand that Google Ads is not always going to show that your ad is showing, but because it's ran out of that budget, because Google doesn't explain that for whatever reason, just know that if you're still getting impressions, you're still getting clicks, and your click-through rate is good, and your impression share is good, everything's fine. It just means that you most likely just ran out of budget for that hour. Should we exclude branded keywords in DSA campaigns? Yes, but also no. Here's what's funny. If you are running a DSA campaign and you are running a brand campaign, yes, exclude them in the DSA. If you're running a DSA campaign and you're not running a brand, not yet. Here's what I mean by this. Just because someone's Googling your brand name does not mean that they didn't come from a previous click. If DSA says, oh, and make sure you're running the Google Ads tag, not importing from analytics if you're not going to run a brand keyword in your DSA and not a brand campaign. Let me just kind of like give you a full scope of this. In DSA, someone might click, or I'm just going to use mine as an example. PPC agency, I get a click. And then they type in Solutions 8. DSA says, I could have brought that person back to convert, but I can't bid on that keyword. And there's no brand campaign to scoop them up. So don't show. Well, that person's going to come back organically then. If you're not running Google Ads tag, you're going to miss that conversion. If you're running analytics, you will miss it. If you're running Google Ads tag, you will get it. Because regardless of how they convert later on, Google Ads tag says, they clicked on this keyword, they eventually converted, they started from this keyword, give that keyword the conversion. But if you're running analytics, it's just going to say, hey, someone came back organically. Don't give any credit to Google Ads. But also check the top conversion path. And what I mean by that is keep the branded keywords in DSA for right now, and then say, did someone have a DSA and then another DSA click? Like it'll say like DSA, if you call it DSA, it'll have DSA X2. That gets a little bit harder because now you're going to have to look at top conversion path by keyword and say, what was the first keyword? Then what was the second keyword? If it's, PPC agency, Google Ads, or sorry, PPC agency Solutions 8, Google Ads agency Solutions 8. You're going to see that if those branded conversions come in, you can still see, was that the first thing that they searched through top conversion path if you look at the keyword. So it's up to you. It doesn't mean that the people that are Googling the brand name didn't come from Google Ads before. So if you're running tag, Google Ads tag, you can exclude it. If you're running analytics, have to include it and confirm that there's no other keywords there that are driving those conversions, because you're going to inadvertently pause or add as a negative keyword a high impression, high click keyword in your DSA campaign that's bringing those people back, and you're just missing it. So you're going to pause that, and all of a sudden now you're wondering why your campaign is not working as well as you used to. All you did was shut off the keyword that was not performing, but it was actually performing. They were just coming to the brand later on. So hopefully that explanation works. Maybe I should mention the disparity is big. Even if I look at the data, that's old from a week ago. Yeah. So iOS 14 did mess up Google Ads a bit. Exclude is now wbraid. There's another one. And that's what's interesting. I would say that with Google's like, hey, go ahead and pull back your ROAS, go a little bit, or increase your target CPA, because we're going to miss where these people came from. Analytics is still going to say like, oh, this is organic or direct. But there is going to be a bigger disparity between that. And as privacy issues get bigger and bigger, there could be even a bigger one. So what I would recommend is looking through your analytics model comparison tool, do first click and last click omni-channel, the MCF, the multi-channel funnel, and see did the first click that came from Google Ads, what was the drop off between the Google Ads first click and last click, and where else in your multi-channel funnel did attribution start to increase? So what you'll say is in the model comparison tool in analytics, if you look at, well, Google Ads had, paid search had 10 conversions first click, 3 conversions last click. And then direct went from 0 to 7. That will tell you that, yep, it did actually come through here. We're just misattributing it. And possibly Google Ads may be missing it. There's always going to be disparity. It will never line up. Mine is always off 20, 30, sometimes 40%. It's just the way that it goes. But the way to mitigate that is looking through top conversion path in Google Ads. Look through top conversion path in analytics. Look at the multi-channel funnel in the model comparison tool in analytics. And then also look at your overall lead flow or revenue as you scale. I have campaigns that I start to spend more, get worse ROAS, but my sales go up 40% globally in analytics. I know that if I'm only running one marketing channel, that has to be attributed to that. And then I see, well, my direct and organic all of a sudden start to get 20% conversion rates from new users in the direct channel, which I know is not possible. Google Ads missed it. Shopify said it was direct. This says it was direct, but that can't be possible. So that's the thing too, is they will never match up ever. I have most of the time, I actually have a few clients that I still have importation of analytics as a conversion action. I'll just turn it off and then add the Google Ads tag. They're sometimes 50 to 100% off. It's like you made 10 sales at $1,000. This one says you made 20 sales at $2,000. It's like they're way off. So just know that as privacy issues start to get bigger, wbraid, wbraid, and Exclude have now been separated based on per user per device. If they opted in or opted out, you're going to see bigger discrepancies. So you have to know your account very, very well. You have to know that analytics and how that you need to know your time lag, your top conversion path, your days to conversion, the multi-channel funnel first and last click attribution in analytics, and then your first and last click attribution in ads. Yeah, there's a whole thing here. I'm not gonna be able to get through this on your call, but during this, I guess, this meeting. But yeah, there's gonna be just insane discrepancies. That's just gonna be how it has to go. Those two are using literally 90 days worth of different data. So unless you have like one click to one sale every single time, if there is any time lag and it's 34 days, you're going to have a month different data between those two attributions, unfortunately. Jones, good morning. Hey, Jones. Question: we have a standard / smart shop. We have a standard / smart shopping campaign before, but work's not good enough, so we canceled it. And right now we want to try to test our products again. I'm not sure what is standard / smart shopping. You mean you were running both at the same time? Do we have to set up another totally new standard shopping campaign or just restart the old one? Does there any difference between these two? Thanks a lot. I'm not sure I quite understand the question. Are you saying that you ran a standard, then you paused the standard, then you ran a smart shopping, and then you paused the smart shopping? Let me know, because I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure. Can you give me just a little bit, like just a brief, like started this, then paused, then started that, then paused, and now we want to do this? That will just help me, because I want to send you off on the wrong, very expensive endeavor if it's going to be off. How do you guys make sure lead quality when running campaigns for marketing agencies? Use a CRM tool, pass through UTM parameters, source, keyword, ad, campaign, ad group, then throttle position based on keyword, based on historical lead quality data of that keyword. You need a CRM tool. If you don't have a CRM tool, you just have to focus on positioning and then high amount of communication with the client. But what we usually do is say, if we're running, I'm just going to give you an example, 5 keywords in a campaign. what is the lead quality of each one of those 5 keywords? I have 5 leads here, 5 leads here, 5 leads here, 5 leads here, 5 leads here. Which one converted most often? These 2 keywords. Is that consistent? Yes. Pause these 3, work on getting these 2 up in the higher ranks, because being first to be considered is going to normally increase lead quality. But I have to look in post salesperson disposition of that lead, good, bad, did it go to sale or not? I need to have a sales team that gives me honest and accurate and timely feedback, or this is not going to work. If I send over 10 leads and I have to call them and say like, hey, how are those 10 leads? Yeah, I think they're all right. Not going to work. I need to know, of these 10 leads, what was good, what was bad, what was the objections? Was it situational or was it actually a keyword? Do they have a good quality? Was there also phone calls? Did you listen to every single phone call that's coming in off those keywords? And then pipe that back into Google Ads into the after it's been dispositioned in the CRM tool. So what I think of it this way: I'm going to send over 10 leads. I need to get feedback on those 10 leads, accurate and quickly. And then I need to see, well, what campaign activity brought that? What ad group, keyword, ad, and campaign brought those leads? And you're going to find that there's 80% of the quality leads are coming from 20% of the activity. Identify that, pause the rest, increase or spend less on those, but increase the activity on those 20% of the good lead quality. But you need to have consistency, and you need to have a sales team that's not completely horrible, because if they call them back 6 days later after lead's been generated, you have no good data. Did they get back to the lead within 5 minutes? And after they got back to the lead within 5 minutes, did they disposition it in the CRM tool? All of that, it's a lot of work on a client. But if the client's not willing to do the work, you're going to have just horrible data, and you're just going to be shooting in the dark. It looks like it's a good search term, but I have no idea if it actually is good. The sales team didn't update it. That is paramount. We've lost clients because we've actually said, hey, this just isn't going to work. I'm spending your money very expensively. You're asking for lead quality, but your sales team's not giving me the feedback. I just, I'm going to ask you, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner, what keywords should I stop spending on for low keyword quality? I don't know exactly. That's my situation. So you have to put it back on the client if they're not going to give you the feedback in a very timely and accurate manner. That's the only way to do it. Thanks a lot. Glad to see you again. Yeah, you as well, Jones. How come after 5 months of consistent running of the Smart Shopping campaign, an incredible August and the beginning of this September, usually beginning of months are much better than the rest, is poor? Well, Davey, first thing I would say is ecom prodigy and ID firing. That happens monthly with like 30 clients of mine. You'll see really good performance, and all of a sudden, it just drops off. I had a year's worth of really good data with a person that was here that was actually part of our 3X Shopify from back in October of 2020. So 11 months ago, 2 weeks ago, campaign just died, and we're scaling very, very well, and just died. Ecom prodigy. The theme updated, sent back an ecom prodigy. The ID parameter was replaced with value. Google saw replaced with value. Google's not going to know what replaced with value is. Check that first. First. Everything else, you could beat your head against the wall for weeks, and it's not going to fix this issue unless we can solidify that either ID or ecom prodigy is firing, and the code that is sending back the parameter matches the IDs of your product. That is paramount. So just check that first. If I were you, that's what. If I was your agency, that's the first thing I would check. Everything else, I can go through 12 other things, but those things aren't going to matter if ecom prodigy and ID are not firing perfectly. Easy Ties. How would I track web chat conversion using Go High Level? That is a very, very, very good, very good question. I have not done that. We use Go High Level as an agency. I'm just not a part of it. I'm more on the client-facing strategy side. I'm not necessarily in the tech stack side for Go High Level. Amazing tool. I'm just afraid I might give you the wrong answer. However, I'll have to confirm this with either is Qasim or let me just see here. Hold on. I don't know if this is it's a day off here kind of with Solutions Day, so I'm not sure if anybody's around. I know Qasim's here in the office. I'm not sure if he's watching, but let's do this. Easy Ties. Email me at John, so JOHN at SOL8.com, and I'll see if we can get you the answer via email. My first SOP is just say, well, after integration with analytics, just add that as an event, add that event as a goal, and then have that goal be imported into Google Ads as a conversion. Is that possible? I don't know. So that would be my first thing I would look at. If it's event, go into your goals, add the event as a goal, import that goal as a conversion action inside of analytics, or sorry, inside of your Google Ads from your analytics. That will track it. I just don't know if that's exactly possible with Go High Level. So shoot me an email. We'll get it resolved after this. I understand the one-day versus multi-day attribution, but to get 2x more conversions in Google Ads on a pretty good volume, and I doubt it's much more than just misreported in analytics. Tony, got to run. Oh, here. So here's another thing, Jen, that you can look at, or John. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce your name. I'm so sorry. It's Jan, and I know Jan is usually a female name in the United States, so I might butcher this. Here's one thing to look at. Where in the code, in the back end of the conversion page of the code firing, I've seen a big discrepancy between this. Analytics always fires from the head. If you're using Google Ads tag, the standard default implementation for Google Ads tag is at the end of the body. If you have a 12-second time to live, according to PageSpeed Insights of your website, that 12 seconds actually means that it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's how the codes fire. 12 seconds from top to bottom. Analytics always fires immediately in the first 5 seconds. 12 seconds later, the conversion action tag fires at the bottom of the body, head, body. If you are using Google Ads tag and someone is leaving the thank you page in 7 seconds, which is very common, as soon as you get an order confirmation, like, thank you, your order's been processed, sweet, and close out the window. Analytics fired 7 seconds later, before the Google Ads conversion tag could have been fired, they left. It didn't fire, it stopped. So that would be an area that I would check. We've had this happen a few times where ads and analytics were just so off that we saw that direct kept getting conversions, but Google Ads was not reporting conversions. That was because the analytics was the head code that was fired first, so it reported the conversion. But before it was able to get the gclid out of the Google Ads remarketing tag with the conversion action to overwrite what actually just happened, it didn't fire because it didn't make it far, because people left because the confirmation page loaded slowly. Check that. And if you can, use Google Tag Manager to fire the conversion action in the header, not at the bottom of the body, if you have a 5, 8, 12-second load time of your confirmation page, if that is your setup. Hopefully that helps as well. Okay, that explains it. Thank you. Yep, it was so useful. It was so useful what you told me last week about looking at expected click-through rate quality level. I really have a good insight on where we are at. Awesome. Now I love exploring with columns, look at data. Welcome to my world. I just look at like 200 lines of code. I'm like, I'm like looking at the matrix and I'm like, oh my God, Neo's in trouble. Like that's just how it goes now. It's pretty crazy. I can look at data, I'm like, aha, I see the issue now. It's weird. It's like a new talent. It's cool. I call it the sixth sense. Roman, hi Roman. How many conversions do you need before you can turn a strategy abroad and TCPA? I would say between 30 and 50 is a really good one, and it kind of stinks because sometimes 50 conversions can be a year for a client. So usually, and I'm just going to give you my experience, after 50 is pretty solid. Now, what you have to be doing the work in the meantime is throttling back TCPA, and you also need to be adding native keywords and pausing the really expensive keywords that are sucking up all the budget with low click-through rates, or sorry, low conversion rates. During this time of broad TCPA, you need to be adding the good search terms that have showed conversions and over 2 impressions for 1 click. It can't just be 1 click or 1 impression. You need to have something over 2, 5, 10, 15 is good. But if you have a positive search term that generated a conversion at a good target cost per acquisition, and it has more than 5 impressions at the time that it took place, add that as a positive broad keyword and just keep doing that. Because what you're going to do is you're going to feed back data back into Google and saying, hey, this is the type of people that converted. So add those 10 conversions from the broad search terms that, not the keywords, the search terms in broad that did well. Add those as positive keywords and keep doing that. Don't go over like 30 though. But that's what's going to happen is it's going to stop that exploratory keyword from just overspending and getting bad conversion rates and being really expensive and driving up that CPA. You're not going to be able to throttle that back just by using the bidding strategy. You have to feed additional keywords of converters. That will teach Google. Do you launch dynamic search ads, dynamic remarketing, standard and smart the first day or when? Yeah. So standard operating procedure for us is standard shopping unless we think smart shopping is going to go good. And is a product that doesn't have that people know about, that people want, that is in demand. Like if you just say, hey, I have this best thing since sliced bread and everyone wants it, I'm just going to jump right into smart shopping. But if it's like, I don't know if this is going to work, I'll launch standard and smart at the same time. You just got to use your gut. There's no like stats that are going to tell you when to do that. But it's standard and smart, dynamic remarketing. Sometimes, depending on if we're just using smart shopping and we're going to start off with a TCPA goal because the campaign actually has a year's worth of good conversion history. Again, it's situational. So standard, smart shopping, dynamic remarketing, DSA, brand, sometimes competitors, depending on if the client wants it. Those are the ones that I'll run standard. I may not even run an inbound broad if it seems like it's already going well and there's no need to scale and we're already hitting our goals and we have this campaign that's going to scale 10x. I'm just going to keep the budget for that. Inbound broad, that's the one that's like, this could work. But if the person's like, hey, I got 40 grand, spend it now. Yeah, I'm going to try everything. But if it's like, hey, I got 2 grand, just be smart about it. I might not run inbound broad because that will get expensive. So again, it's situational. Does the client have a lot of money? What's the goals? Is the product good? That's if I start to dip my toe into all campaigns, or I just run full bore at like 5 campaigns at $1,000 a day each. Again, it's situational. Kale, when adding keywords in broad with smart biddings, do you have a standard operating procedure for the number of keywords added to a campaign? I kind of just dipped into that, which is perfect. When you start a broad match plus smart bidding, do you immediately throw on a TCPA or ROAS and not let it go crazy, which I'm guessing would be a max conversions? Also, when do you opt for DSA plus smart bidding versus broad match for smart bidding? Good. A lot of good questions. You've been watching a while. I like this. So I usually start with 3 to 5 keywords in broad and start like stupidly. And what I mean stupidly is keywords that are so obvious that you're like, God, this is weird. Let's just say you sell black leather wallets. This is my people that watch me for a long time know this is my favorite example. Buy black leather wallet, purchase black leather wallet, order black leather wallet. Start there. Maybe not black, but like purchase wallet, order wallet, buy wallet. That'd be the first 3 I would start with. That, in a broad sense, will show you for 1,500 search terms. You basically just gave Google 1,500 exact matches. Let Google do the work. If I give Google as 25 broad keywords, that just turned into 1 million search terms, basically. Google's like, why? I got the world to go now. Anything that has to do with things that you put in your back pocket, I'm going to show up for. So that takes a bunch of ad spend and a long time. Because think about it. Can Google go through 1,000 search terms and find success faster than Google can go through 1 million search terms and find success? Yes. So you're giving Google a very targeted approach and saying, go find me consistency with these obvious keywords that I know that if someone's searching for this and all the variants, someone's going to buy it. So I would start there. To answer the next question, I always start with a TCPA. I do not start with the target ROAS. I don't actually use target ROAS in search at all. You're asking Google to do 2 things, not just one. TCPA, you're asking Google to do 1 thing. Target ROAS, you're asking Google to do 2 things, especially in the beginning, it's hard. What target CPA says is, can you at least get a conversion at X amount of dollars? Target ROAS says, can you at least get a conversion? And can it be a big conversion too, like a really big, really expensive one, at least something over 300%? You're asking it to do 2 things in exploratory phase, harder to get started. It's usually best to find out early what your average cart value is divided by 4, and then that's your target CPA. That'll equal 400% ROAS. Quick example, $100 average cart value, target CPA of 25. Well, 25 times 4 is 100. That's a 400 ROAS. Spending 25 to make 100, 400 ROAS. I would usually start there. I don't usually start with max conversions. You can, but just make sure you limit the daily spend. Like if you want a $100 per day campaign, you set $100 per day in max conversions, it is going to just go, well, I bid $47 a click because I thought it was going to bring me a conversion. So I only got 2 clicks, but I was trying to maximize the conversions. It's going to be expensive. So start with target CPA at a high amount, like let's say $100, and then throttle it back there as you start to see activity and adjust accordingly. For DSA and smart bidding and broad match, run both at the same time. Honestly, you're going to find whatever starts to work first. Google is just going to funnel good search terms to that campaign, and that's going to be your winning campaign. If you have a reason why you don't run on DSA versus smart, then versus search, a standard search with smart bidding, then that wins. But I don't have that situation for you. So both are equally viable to be ran at the same time, unless you have a reason not to run one versus the other. Like the content on the site sucks, and Keyword Planner, when I scanned that page, showed bad results. So I'm not going to use DSA. All right. That is so true. When I switched my conversion tracking from analytics to GTM, I went from missing 50% of the conversions to getting almost all of them. It's insane, isn't it? That's why I put a video out that says importing conversion from analytics. Stop. Like it's insane. You're missing half the conversions, but Google's also missing half your conversions. Hey, Google want to be half as smart? No, absolutely not. Always important, or always use Google Ads tag whenever possible. Always fire it in the header whenever it's possible as well. Follow up to brand keyword exclusion in DSA. John, the thing is, most search terms in my DSA campaign are brand search terms, so possibly first click will be through brand keyword itself. I'm running a brand campaign as well. Yeah, perfect. Boom, you answered it already. Yep, exclude brand from DSA. Absolutely, exclude. That's 100% then. And that's what I was saying. If you're not running a brand, you have to include it. If you're running a brand, absolutely pause those for sure. Pause the brand keyword in DSA if you're running brand. Have you tested exact match only with smart bidding versus broad match only with smart bidding? Yes, exact match only with smart bidding atrophies every time. It says, hey, we started to show. There's not enough people here that I can actually work backwards and reverse engineer a target CPA, target ROAS, and dies. I've tested it a few times, and sometimes I just don't have the thing run at all. Like, it's eligible and everything is working fine, but I'm getting like 7 impressions a day because Google's purposely throttling that, because it says, can I get that exact keyword for that exact person for that exact cost per acquisition? Have I done it before? No, I'm just not going to show. So what you're telling Google is, hey, Google, find me the perfect person that is also going to be searching this exact keyword. And I need you to spend so much little money on it that you have to jump over all the competitors, though, and still earn the conversion. Do you think you can do that? Google's just going to stop. Google needs flexibility in order to learn. If you isolate it to a box, if it's not going to work in 3 days, it's not going to work ever for exact match. So just hopefully that helps. Ecom Prodigy. Yes, Davey, go into tools and settings, go into audience manager, go over to audience sources, click on the Google Ads tag, scroll down and look at the Ecom Prod ID and ID. If those have been firing at 0%, that's the fail point. Check there first. And this is recorded, so hopefully you can play that back and kind of, see exactly where I told you to go. All right. Thank you, John. You've always been very helpful. You're very welcome. Oh, Cecilia, John, when we have our, and this is, I got to get going actually here. So this is going to be the end of it here. So if anybody answers or asks any more questions, I got to get to it next week. I'm so sorry. John, when we have our online yoga class in English, they're also in English, they're in Spanish. We're going to give you some classes for free so you can take yoga breaks in the first or in your 12-hour workday. Think of it as thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I probably need that. Thank you so much, Cecilia. Your standard sounds like you are working with a pretty large budget to start. So, yeah, we don't take on clients that aren't spending at least $2,000 a month. If you have less than $2,000 a month, this thing takes too long for our clients to be happy. No one's going to pay me a high dollar management fee for me to contact them in month 2 and be like, hey, just give me some more time. So I need to set up my clients and myself for success. So if you're going to pay our, we're not charging $200 a month here, but if you're going to pay me my management fee, I have to get you action and results fast. And that's why we have we don't have a 90-day limit, but like in the first 90 days, we should have some really good path to results. But if you give me $500 a day, or sorry, $500 a month, and I can earn 37 clicks a month because it's a very expensive industry, like let's say attorney, I'm going to be like, hey, I got 37 clicks. After about 3 months, I'll have at least 100 clicks, and I'll tell you what I need to start to do. No one's going to wait 3 months for me to say like, okay, I got 100 clicks. That's the thing. So as an agency, I need data in order to make fast optimization to get my clients results. But if a client gives me too little data, I'm just not going to start. I'm just going to say, hey, you're too small for us. So it's not that you're too small for us. I'm just going to ultimately upset you in 90 days when I tell you to give me more time and keep paying me. So hopefully that helps. Just found out new customer acquisition option for campaign level conversion actions has been checked and checked on the entire life of the campaign. Should be on. Wow. From what I can tell, it's not factoring into conversion. It's not factoring into conversion value for some reason. It's at 10%. Dylan, that's interesting. From what I can tell you, it's not factoring into conversion value for some reason. It's at 10%. You should be able to have a not a percentile, but a dollar amount for new customer acquisition option. If it's been on the entire time, do this, Dylan. Can you segment, looking at a campaign, go with like 30 days. Under segment, hit segment, go to conversions. And then when you go into conversions, look at the bottom. It should be the second from the bottom. Look at new versus returning customer. Click on that. Does it give you new, unknown, and returning, or does it just say unknown? Shoot me an email because you're part of our mastermind too. So we'll deal with this, I think, offline as well. But let me know how that goes. David Green, what would be the proper budget for over 800 products in a smart shopping campaign? Over 800 products, I would say $1,000 a day is going to be good. That should get you at least like 200 to 300 products to have some high amount of activity. And I don't mean to say that as like, oh, John does big budgets. No. It's what Google does. Here's what I mean by that. You have 800 products. Your daily budget needs to be higher than the cap of all of those products to get those products to show all the time. Here's what I mean by that. If I have $100 per day and those 4 products have enough activity that it can suck up that $100 a day, those 4 products are going to suck up the $100 a day. And the rest of the products, that are 796, you're going to say, well, what about me? The 4 products sucked it all up. Over 800 products, typically, I mean, if you could actually have $20,000 a day, that would be awesome. You probably will be able to max out all of the products, and that's typically what smart shopping will do. It finds something it likes, it sells a lot of it, and then you have to give it so much more money that those products are like, I just physically can't sell any more of these. Let's move on to the next set of products. And that's how Google works. The good news is you're going to find what products sell fast and a repeatability, and you can scale. But don't think that it's going to take the $100 and say, well, I'm going to get 1 click for 100 of these products every day. It's not. It's because then it's never going to find consistency. It's going to find consistency first, scale that into sucking up all of your daily ad spend, and then you have to give it so much more ad spend that it saturates those so much that it says, okay, we can't put any more money in these 18 products. Let's move on to the other ones. Hopefully that helps. Think about that's the way that smart shopping will work. Good news is you sell a bunch, you get a good ROAS. Bad news is it's like on 8 products unless you have continually increased budget. Cool. Thanks, everyone. I think we did it. Thank you, everyone. We're 48 minutes into it. 2 minutes over. Not a big deal, but thank you so much, everyone. Happy Labor Day, and I will see you next time. Thanks, everyone.